All right, this is geometry lesson 1-5, part B of the lesson. So the next word we need to talk about are linear pairs. Linear pairs is a pair of adjacent angles whose non-common sides are opposite rays. The angles of a linear pair form a straight angle. So basically, linear pair is adjacent, and together they form a straight angle. Now, we have the postulate 1-9, which is the linear pair postulate. This postulate is a big deal. We will use it all year. What it says is if two angles form a linear pair, then they are supplementary. That should make sense. A linear pair forms a straight angle. That means you have two angles that make 180 degrees. Two angles that make 180 degrees are supplementary. So we can use this to find some missing angle measures. Here we have a problem. It says angle KPL and angle JPL are a linear pair. The measure of angle KPL is 2x plus 4, and the measure of angle JPL is 4x plus 36. What are their measures? The key piece of information here is that you have a linear pair. Linear pair means they're supplementary, which means their sum is 180. So we can take the two angles, the measure of angle KPL and the measure of angle JPL, and together they should be 180 degrees. We take these expressions, 2x plus 24 plus 4x plus 36, and together those should be 180 degrees. And now we just start doing some algebra. Here we go. Combine our like terms. 2x plus 4x is 6x. 24 plus 36 is 60. 6x plus 60 is 180. Subtract our 60. 6x is 120. Divide both sides by 6, and we get x is 20. Now this is geometry, not algebra, so you found x, great, but that's not the answer to our problem. The question is, what are the measures of KPL and JPL? So we want to take that 20 and plug it in for both of them. 2 times 20 plus 24. That's going to give us 40 plus 24, which is 64. We're going to plug it into JPL as well. 4 times 20 plus 36. 4 times 20 is 80. 80 plus 36 is 116. So the measure of angle KPL is 64 degrees, and the measure of angle JPL is 116 degrees. Verify that by making sure they form a linear pair, by making sure they're supplementary. 64 plus 116 is 180. Now make sure that for your final step you do actually say the measure of the angle is, rather than just writing 64 and 116. That is not specific enough. This next question, we talked about this already. How can you check your results in problem 3? Make sure that those two form a linear pair. Make sure they're supplementary. What I want you to do now is pause the video here and try this next one on your own. All right, check your work with mine. You should have set up the equation 3x plus 14 plus 5x minus 2 is 180. Combine your like terms, get x to be 21. Plug that back in, we get angle ADB to be 77 degrees and the measure of angle BDC to be 103 degrees. Check our work. Those should add up to 180. 77 plus 103 is 180. We did it correctly. All right. Our last topic of the day is angle bisectors. There we go. An angle bisector is a ray or segment that divides an angle into two congruent angles. Its endpoint is at the angle vertex. Sorry, these boxes are not moving. That word should be, I think, endpoint. Yes, that word is endpoint. In the diagram, okay, come on, delete. There we go. In the diagram, you can see that ray AY is the angle bisector of angle XAZ. So it takes this entire angle XAZ and it's cut in half by ray AY, which leaves the two angles left to be congruent. That's what it means to be an angle bisector. We use this a lot in problems like this one down here. It says AC bisects angle DAB. That means that it's breaking it into two congruent parts just like that. If the measure of angle DAC is 58, so if this chunk is 58, what's the measure of angle DAB? Now be careful. Angle DAB is the entire angle. So if AC bisects the entire angle, that means that DAC and CAB are congruent. So you have two angles of 58 degrees. The two angles of 58 degrees together should make the entire angle. We go 58 plus 58, add those up, 116 degrees. So the measure of angle DAB should be 116 degrees. Now, typical problems like this, you'll have a little bit more algebraic work to do, but that's the basic gist of it. This was lesson 1-5. Our objective for today, guys, was to identify special angle pairs. So things like vertical angles, supplementary angles, complementary angles, adjacent angles, and use those relationships to find angle measures. So we use the fact that two angles are supplementary to find angle measures. We also talked about the linear pair postulate, and we talked about angle bisectors.